Let's talk about solving equations that have fractions and decimals. The first thing we want to do is we're going to want to clear the fraction or the decimal from the equation. And the reason that we do this is because it gets really annoying and complicated to have to add and subtract or multiply and divide the fractions and the decimals. It's much easier to do that if we turn the fractions or the decimals into whole numbers. Let's take a look at this example. 1/2 x minus 2/3 x is equal to 5. The first thing we want to do is make sure that every number in the equation looks like a fraction. So what that means is we're going to take the 5 and we're going to put it over 1 so that it looks like a fraction as well. The next thing we want to do is find the LCD of all of the fractions in the equation and multiply each term by that LCD. So in this example, the denominators that I see are 2, 3, and 1. So my LCD is 6. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply each term by the 6. Next, we're going to cancel each denominator and multiply what is left by the numerator. So in this case, the 2 is going to cancel with the 6, leaving me a 3, and I get 3 times 1, which is 3x. The 3 is going to cancel with the 6, leaving me a 2, and I get minus 2 times 2, which is minus 4x. And on the right-hand side, there's nothing to cancel, so we just get is equal to 30. And as you can see, we have now gotten rid of our fractions and we have an equation that is easy to solve. And so the last step says solve, and we do 3x minus 4x, which is negative x is equal to 30, and so x is equal to negative 30. And you can always go ahead, plug it in to check and make sure that what you've done is correct. In this example, what we're going to do when we have decimals is we're going to take a look at the decimals and count them up to see what is the most number of decimals that we see. So in this first term here, we see there are 2 decimal spaces. In this one, there are no decimal spaces, and in this term, there's 1 decimal space. So we take the largest, which is the 2 decimal spaces, and we multiply every term there by that power of 10, which in this case, 2 decimal spaces is 100. So we're going to multiply the 0.05 times the 100, the 3 times the 100, and the 0.2 times 100. Essentially, what this does is it moves every one of our decimals 2 spaces. So the 0.05 now becomes 5 times x plus 1. The 3 now becomes minus 300, and the 0.2 now becomes 20x. Now often I get the question of why don't we multiply both outside here, this parentheses, and inside with the 100 as well, and the answer is because this entire term here, this is 1 term, so if we multiply it by 100 on the outside, that's good enough. At this point, we've gotten rid of our decimals, and we can go ahead and solve. We distribute the 5, we get 5x plus 5 minus 300 is equal to 20x. Combine like terms, 5x minus 295 is equal to 20x. We subtract the 5x from both sides, 15x, and so x is going to be equal to negative 295 over 15, whatever that simplifies to.